This is your 30 seconds of trivia for The Last Starfighter. Released in 1984, it starred Lance Guest from Halloween 2, Dan O'Hurley from Halloween 3, and Robert Preston from Victor Victoria, in what was sadly his last big screen role before his death in 1987. All the film's visual effects were made on a Cray X-MP computer. The film has an appearance by the hardest working prop in movies. Star Trek fans called them the Tucker Tubes. Will Wheaton appears in the background of two scenes as a kid from the trailer park. Also, notable Star Trek alumni Mark Aliamo and Meg Wiley are in the film. Galoob created action figures for the film, but they were never released. The movie was shot in 40 days. This is your 30 seconds of trivia for Explorers. Released in 1985, it starred Ethan Hawke from Dead Poets Society, Jason Presson from The Lady in White, and the late River Phoenix from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, also starring Robert Picardo from Star Trek Voyager and Dick Miller from Demon Knight. The film was directed by Joe Dante, who also directed Gremlins. Robert Picardo plays three characters in the film: Whack, the alien dad, and Starkiller. Whack's head makeup was heavy and painful and caused open lesions on Picardo's head. The computer used to control the kid's spacecraft is an Apple IIc. When Whack first appears, he is wearing a coat because the full bodysuit was not yet finished at the time of filming. Robert Picardo and Dick Miller would go on to appear in the movie Inner Space. This is your 30 seconds of trivia for The Ice Pirates. Released in 1984, it starred Robert Urich from Spencer for Hire, Michael D. Roberts from Rain Man, Mary Crosby from Dallas, Ron Perlman from Beauty and the Beast, and Angelica Houston from The Addams Family. Originally intended as a serious sci-fi film, MGM cut its budget by more than half and had it rewritten as a comedy. The entire sound team was fired mid-production and replaced with no explanation. The film reused elements from the film Logan's Run. Kevin Costner turned down the lead role of Jason. Ice Pirates was the second major film role for both Ron Perlman and Mary Crosby. The film's original ending was cut without the director Stuart Raffles' knowledge. This is your 30 seconds of trivia for Tron. Released in 1982, it starred Jeff Bridges from The Big Lebowski, Bruce Boxleitner from Scarecrow and Mrs. King, Cindy Morgan from Caddyshack, and David Warner from Time Bandits. The movie was a financial flop and was outgrossed by the video games based on the film. All live-action shots filmed in the computer world were filmed in black and white and then colorized. Tron was the first movie to extensively use computer-generated imagery. The identity discs worn by the programs were just toy store frisbees. Development of the film began in 1976. Tron's marketing budget was only $500,000 compared to E.T. and Annie, which had ad budgets of $10 million. This is your 30 seconds of trivia for E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Released in 1982, it starred Henry Thomas from Cloak and Dagger, Drew Barrymore from Charlie's Angels, Robert McNaughton from The Electric Grandmother, Dee Wallace from The Howling, E.T. from Space, and was directed by Steven Spielberg from Jaws. The score was written by John Williams, who is the greatest. Most of the film was shot at the eye level of a child. Sir Richard Attenborough felt bad that his film Gandhi beat E.T. for Best Picture. The doctors and nurses who worked on E.T. were real emergency room techs. Early in the film, Michael and his friends are playing Dungeons & Dragons, as Spielberg was a fan of the game. This is your 30 seconds of trivia for Alien Nation. Released in 1988, it starred James Caan from Elf, Mandy Patinkin from The Princess Bride, and Terrence Stamp from Superman 2. Jerry Goldsmith's score was rejected as being too weird, and he was replaced with composer Kurt Sobel. Although the film did not get a theatrical sequel, it did spawn a TV spin-off and 5 TV movies. Brian Thompson is the only actor to appear in both the film and the TV spin-off. At one point, Paul Newman was interested in starring in the film. The cast and crew nicknamed the aliens Potato Heads. This is your 30 seconds of trivia for Howard the Duck. Released in 1986, it starred Leah Thompson from Back to the Future, Tim Robbins from The Shawshank Redemption, Jeffrey Jones from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and Chip Zinn from Into the Woods as the voice of Howard. All of the songs performed by Beverly's band were sung by Leah Thompson, and she still has the guitar used in the film and still plays it. The film was directed by Willard Hayek, whose previous film, Best Defense, was a box office flop. When Howard bombed, it killed his directing career. Howard was the lowest grossing Marvel movie until 2008's Punisher Warzone. Following a test screening, 2 Universal executives got into a fistfight over who to blame for greenlighting the movie. This is your 30 seconds of trivia for Dune. Released in 1984, it stars Kyle MacLachlan from Twin Peaks, Virginia Madsen from Candyman, Patrick Stewart from X-Men, and Sting from, being Sting. At the time of filming, Patrick Stewart had no idea who Sting was. 200 workers spent 2 months hand-clearing 3 square miles of Mexican desert for the shoot. Director David Lynch's intended cut of the film was almost 3 hours long, but he didn't have final cut, and found the experience to be highly dissatisfying. Actress Alicia Witt is a real-life prodigy, talking by 2, reading by 4, and graduating high school by 14. Before making Dune, David Lynch turned down an offer to direct Return of the Jedi. This is your 30 seconds of trivia for Flash Gordon. Released in 1980, it starred Sam Jones from The Highwaymen, Melanie Anderson from Manimal, Max von Sydow from Star Wars Episode 7 The Force Awakens, Timothy Dalton from Toy Story 3 and Something to Do with Bond, and Brian Blessed from Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace. Sam Jones choreographed and did most of his own stunts. Dune writer Frank Herbert did uncredited rewrites of the script. The original Flash Gordon serials were a big influence on George Lucas, who wanted to make a Flash movie, but the rights were already tied up, so he made Star Wars instead. Kurt Russell was offered the part of Flash, but turned it down. This is your 30 seconds of trivia for Spaceballs. Released in 1987, it starred Bill Pullman from ID4, John Candy from Uncle Buck, Rick Moranis from Little Shop of Horrors, Daphne Zuniga from Melrose Place, and was directed by the legendary Mel Brooks. George Lucas gave his blessing to parody Star Wars, as long as there was no Spaceballs action figures. Brooks wanted a big star like Tom Cruise or Tom Hanks to play Lone Star, but after failing to get them, he decided to go with a basically unknown Bill Pullman. Pullman got the part after Brooks saw him in a play. The novelization was written by R.L. Stine. Yes, that R.L. Stine. ILM did some of the film's effects.